Palestine's greatest researcher, Maya Abdullah, is going to chime in and tell us all about Palestinian DNA. She's a very, very intelligent person. I'm so happy to hear from her. No sarcasm here at all. I'm your favorite Zionist prince, Tall the Traveling Clat. Let's take a look at this genius of Palestine.
Morning. Please excuse my voice because I'm very sick.
She's very
But
sick.
I have a story about Palestinian erasure that I think is very important right now, and please watch to the end to find out what we can do to stop this from happening. I
تمام
want to
حبيبتي.
preface this
تفضل.
video by saying DNA tests are illegal in Israel. Over a year ago,
They're not. I did a DNA test in Israel. You can do a DNA test. They just don't allow American companies that sell your information. They cost a little bit more money, like around $200, but everybody can do a DNA test in Israel.
ordered a 23andMe DNA test. Not because I was unsure about my my ancestry, but more so because I wanted to see, like, my relatives, if I had health, anything. I wanted all the tests. So I ordered
Brain
the
damage.
deluxe package. I sent them my spit, and then I got my results back. And I was extremely shocked when I opened my results. So I knew I was going to be 100% Arab. But then when I opened it, it said that I was 100% Lebanese and Jordanian. And I know for a fact that I have no Jordanian ancestry. I mean, the three countries used to be one, but they've done a pretty good job of figuring out, like, who hailed from which region ancestrally. So I was shocked when I found out that I was 100% Lebanese and Jordanian. For context, my dad is Lebanese and my mom is Palestinian. So naturally, I freaked
What?
out. I was like, oh my God, am I not Palestinian? I would have been devastated. So I called my cousins, and my cousin, whose husband took the same DNA test, who's also Palestinian, told me that 23andMe doesn't test for Palestine or Israel. So I wanted to do some more research. Obviously, I'm very confused why they're not testing this huge area in this region where they're testing all these countries except for this. And then I started finding these articles of people who took the 23andMe DNA test as Palestinians and did not get Palestine. There are all these subreddits on Reddit about people sharing their test, knowing that they're Palestinian, but getting either Egyptian, Jordanian, or Syrian. And some even got Iranian. And then I found this petition from 2020 to recognize Palestine in their DNA tests. I need you guys to understand how crazy it is that the #1 DNA testing ancestry company on the internet doesn't recognize an entire country in the DNA test that they give out. It doesn't make sense. And as we know, DNA tests are illegal in Israel.
They're
so
not.
I truly believe that the reason that they won't test Palestine is because they know ancestrally these people are not from this land. And instead of standing with the truth, 23andMe decided to just take out the entire country. This is a great example of disgusting erasure of the truth that Palestinian people belong to this land and have a right to return to the land that they are ancestrally from. So please join me in A, boycotting 23andMe until they decide to recognize Palestine, and B, leaving a 1-star review on the App Store urging them to recognize Palestine and show the truth that Palestinians hail from that region. Thank you.
I told you guys, she was really nothing short of a professor. I told you, Maya Abdullah really is. I had the honor of even speaking with Maya once. And I made a video about her that got 500,000 views a little while back, calling out her genius, honoring her genius. I don't know if it's a video I could upload to YouTube because it's a little too, it might go against YouTube's guidelines, but I suggest you try to find it on my TikTok/Instagram. Okay. Let's just, we'll do this, we'll make this simple. There's no such thing as Palestinian DNA. Because Palestinians are not an ethnicity. The reason they write Levantine there is because this specific area is part of the Levant, which also makes up Lebanon and Jordan and Israel and what you consider to be Palestine, parts of Egypt as well. The issue is Lebanese people have specific DNA strands that go back to Phoenicians, Arameans, different things. Syrians as well. They have a Syrian DNA. They've got a bunch. They have a Mesopotamian DNA in them as well. Jordanians, Palestinians, Israelis, it's very obscure because Palestine was never a country. Palestinians are not a real group of people. They are today under the guise of a nationality, but that's the most you can give them. Palestinians, like an Afro-Palestinian, a Domari Palestinian, a Bedouin from the north, south, and east of Israel / Palestine, whatever you want to call it, they're completely different human beings. They come together as a nationality, but not as an ethnicity. Same thing with Israelis. I am an Israeli who has a bunch of different ethnic DNA, but when I tested my DNA through Ancestry.com, it told me 98% from the Levant, Canaanite Levantine DNA. But that DNA strand has been mixed to different places. I actually have like 20% Aramean in me and like another 80% or 70% that's Canaanite Levantine. And that was tested via archaeological evidence. I'm going to make a whole video on my DNA soon. I've been talking about it for a while. But that's the reality. Palestinian DNA can be tested because Palestinian DNA isn't a thing. The closest you could get is something like a Canaanite, Philistine, Levantine, or maybe Israelite DNA. And that would the closest group you'd have to that is something like Israelite or Samaritan DNA. Palestinians as a group only started existing, if you want to say in the early 30s, that's a stretch, but really after 67, it's not a group you can test for genetically. There's no such thing as Palestinians genetically. The same way that there isn't such a thing as Jordanians genetically. So I don't even know what they're coming out with when it says Jordanian DNA. I think they're just breaking out what area that DNA might be from. But also, one other thing to remember, Maya, this is probably the most important thing. I'm not a huge fan of dismissing people's Palestinian ancestry or ancestry to this land in this manner, but it is a known fact that pre-48, many Arabs or Arabized people from around the Middle East and North Africa migrated to Israel in pursuit of being here from the influx of wealth that was coming from the Jews who were moving here. Many, many Arabs came here. Many Arabized peoples came here. They moved here in pursuit of a better life because they knew this was either going to be a great Jewish state or that wealth was progressing here because Jewish people were moving back home and starting to develop the land properly instead of the shithole that it had been before that when Arabs ruled here and the Ottomans ruled here. So you have to remember that. There is a good chance that your family didn't originally come from the spot of Israel or what you consider to be Palestine. They may have come from Jordan. They may have come from Lebanon. They may have come from Syria. Many people have this story. The fact that you guys ignore history is a different situation. That's not on us. That's you guys. You don't need to boycott the DNA company. They're telling you the truth. You're just choosing to ignore what might have happened in your family's history. That's it, folks. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you a long time. Goodbye, Klotz. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.